Hello. All right, you go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the trip. See, as you can see, we got a full house. We might have one more on the way, but before we get to everybody's intros, check out this intro. This is DWTT coming to you. The Emirates. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the trip. Let me bring Alonzo back in here. But as you see, we got a full house. And like I said, probably one more coming. But we'll do a quick intro and then we'll get into it. How you doing, Matt?
Doing good, brother. How y'all fellas doing tonight?
Cool. I'm doing good. Tony, how you doing?
So. Just
Yeah,
glad to
and
be
that's
home.
so is good for Tony. For those who didn't know, he's home, which is good. and So we'll take that as a good thing. Stan, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I've got a bit of a bad back, but in light of Tony, I feel bad complaining about any bodily ailment compared to what our Tony's going through. And good to see Tony here. And thanks for having me on for the trip.
No problem. And Lonzo, how are you doing?
Good guys. I'm just hanging out. Got off work early today, so I'm just kicking it with you guys today on a trip.
Cool. And as I said, we might have one more person join us, and there he is. So, Mr. Tom, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, of course.
That's what I thought. That's what I was expecting. Great.
As
So
you
say
can
hello.
see, the reason for Mr. Tom's lateness is that they kept him behind in the makeup truck pre-show. So
That's exactly what happened.
All right, so we'll say hi to everybody and we'll get started here. Big Gun is in the house. Welcome to the show. We've got this Tony Turner guy who's always here. Yes, Stephen is joining us from the north, Canada, that is. Down the road is also here. Yes, we've got the Royal Flusher panels. Yeah, we got it all here. Everything you want and everything you need is right here. So let's get into it. All right. So as I was telling the guys in the back room, lots of things to talk about. Last time we were here, we hadn't played City yet. We hadn't played Villa. The table. Could we stay up in the table? It looked like we weren't going to do that, but we are still here. And Matt can sing his song when we get to him. Sounds like Chelsea's having a little bit of a Potter issue. Liverpool doesn't look like Liverpool's going to get that golden parachute. Looks like the Americans are staying. So Manchester United might be getting that parachute. And maybe we'll talk about Arteta as well. So lots of things to talk about, but I think we'll get into it first. We'll talk about at least the weekend's games. Arsenal wins 2-4 at Villa. I let it slip. Yes, I had a slip on an air. But for those who didn't know, that's good. You don't need to know. But I had Gary went there. Mr. Tom would have been proud of me, but it's not me. But you would have to see the video to know what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. For me, that game, all I wanted was 3 points. We got the 3 points, and I was happy about it. Yes, we can say it was luck, but anybody who's won a Premier League will tell you that you have to have some luck along the way. So hopefully that's some of the luck that we have, and we've got more to come. When we had opportunities late in the game, we definitely took them. Early in the game, not so much. But I wanted 3 points. We got the 3 points. And if you look at the scoreline, it looks like we dominated when we really didn't. But we'll get into that. So, Matt, let's get into it. Villa 2, Arsenal 4.
Out of jail. I'm glad we got the 3 points. I told you I'll take the 3 points anywhere we could get them. But we do have some major concerns. We let in some criminal goals on Saturday. That first goal, man. Whew. And this is the second game running we did that. Hopefully we can go on a run off of this game. Consistency is going to be key here from here going forward. We definitely need to get a defensive midfielder in off season because I tell you, man, Party not being on that pitch is it is rough. Zinchenko, someone needs to talk to him about defense. That seems not that does not seem to be his specialty. But most of us all knew this. A lot of people don't know he was a number 10 before he was a left back. So we may need to put him at number 10 at some point.
Or left sided 8.
Yep. Because it is rough, man, on that side of the pitch. The goals have dried up for Eddie and Ketia. They've dried up, and it seems as if Jesus might be coming back at the right time because I tell you, we need some goals. We need them bad. Saka had me scared to death because it looked like he was hurt most of the game, and I was just praying he made it through, like we've been doing all year long. And Martinelli came on. This is what happens when you drop a player. Player comes on with a point to prove. Goal in. And
an assist.
Yep. And then, we celebrated and had a good time, and then everybody was on cloud nine. Nothing ever happened last week, and let's totally forget about Manchester City. But we've got some problems here that we've got to address. This weekend, I expect to be more of the same from last weekend. These bogey teams, they're going to have a point to prove. They got slapped yesterday, so that, it seems like everybody we need to get something from they get skinned up before we get to them, and so they'll come out with a point to prove, meaning that we'll have to play top shelf. This game will not be easy this weekend. So I just think that we've got some issues to deal with, and Arteta's going to have to manage himself out of this situation for the rest of the year. And if we can just, out of the next 5 games, if we can get a result, some way or another, get a result out of the next 5 games, then I think we'll be looking pretty good. But as of right now, every game is one game at a time. Get 3 points, just get 3 points, get 3 points, just get 3 points, and hope that City has another howler like they did on Saturday. We get a couple of those, get a couple more of those, I think we'll be in good shape.
Yep. As I've been trying to say, we've got 38 tests. We've done, 22 now? So 16 more to go. We just need to keep trying to pass. And we'll say hello to everybody in the chat. We've got Ray's joined us. Welcome to the show. The Assembled is in the house. Welcome. Mama's in the house. Welcome to the show. Thunder Road. And so let's get into it. Yeah, you're right. Martinelli would have had an assist. I'm corrected, except for it went off the head of Emmy. So I don't think they count it that way. But there you go. So Tony, let's get to you. Tell me about the game.
We got lucky there at the end. We're this close to being 2 points out of the last 12. But we got the win. That's the main thing that matters. Not sure if I would have dropped Martinelli. I would have had Trossard on there, but I think I'd either dropped Eddie or dropped Zaka. Try some things different. I still want to see Zinchenko up in that left midfield role too. Play Tierney as the left back. I think that would work better, but Arteta only has one plan, so that's how things go. Overall, wasn't much in the game until the end of it. Got 2 quick goals. sayonara, 3 points, and somehow we're back top of the table.
Yep. No, we as you said, we got lucky. We did score 3 goals in the second half, 2 in the last 8 minutes, but we'll take it. For me, I was screaming throughout the game for Saka to come out. I just didn't want to risk him getting injured further. I don't think it's where we need to be doing that. We already have Jesus out, Partey out, and the last thing I don't think we can afford if Saka comes out. I don't think we have an answer for that. No, we don't have an answer for that. Let's just say that. We'll say hello to a couple more people, and we'll get to Stan. Ray was in the house. Ryan has joined us. Welcome to the show. yeah. For a bit there, Mikkel had me saying things I don't usually say.
Potty mouth.
Yes, dirty mouth, Gary. Yes.
I've got to go find this piece of audio.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
It's absolutely
getting clipped.
filthy.
Oh yeah. Send that to me, Stan, because that's getting clipped, bro.
Filthy.
Oh man, yeah. I didn't. I should have told Ryan not to clip it, but I didn't. So
Filth,
there you
flan,
go.
flan, filth.
Yes, there you go. even though that's not PC anymore, for some reason. Tony, don't mention Martinelli and Trossard in the same sentence. It might say, "Yeah, you're right." That's how that thing started. Trossard deserved 90 minutes for me, but he didn't get it, and that pissed me off. So there you go. All right, Stan.
That's just a taste of it. That was just a taste of it right there. What you just said.
Yeah. So Stan, talk to me about the game.
I'm gonna my version of the game will probably be the same as how it's going to reflect in the history books. When you look back at that game, it's going to say that we beat them 4-2 and that we came back 2 times from behind. And I think that for such young players, they have to take a lot of lessons out of that game, and it has to give them belief that they can find it within themselves when they make mistakes, to not just drop their shoulders and think, okay, well, we've messed up for this game, we'll try and make up for it in the next one, just to keep on going until you get to the full 90. I know that we're going to talk about some individual performances later. You know, there were some chances in that game, just like the previous game, which could have put us even further ahead. But the best thing that I can take out of this is that you go behind twice in the game and you still manage to somehow come out with all 3 points. And when you look at teams that win leagues, you look back at their season, and it's sort of performances like this one, which can help make the difference. But the most amusing thing that I took away from the game was I happened to just stumble upon a post-match interview, and it started off with Unai Emery. And the first thing he said to us, he went, although today we scored the first goal, we didn't play how we'd like to play. And it was that sniff. It was, find it. I'll send it to all of you. It's just worth watching for the... But yeah, good game, entertaining. And, we march on to another fixture, and we're almost there.
Yeah. I think the reason why he probably wasn't too happy with the way they played is because he probably thought they would score a different way and not be handed goals the way they were so easily. For us, we usually can work the ball up the pitch and get something out of it, but we had to do things a little bit differently. So I can understand. It's one of those things where when you're playing, I think it's when you're playing golf, and if you're playing skins and you never let them put the ball in the hole, you just concede. And then when they finally have to do it, they can't. That's kind of what, it's kind of what, like how that match went. None of those goals were kind of what we wanted to see out of our teams. And for those who have noticed, if not, I've been putting on the little ticker there, a little link to everybody's, their ventures. Lonnie, I didn't put one out for you just yet, but I'll get to that. But so Lonzo, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was an early start for all of us. I don't understand what's the game like, but I did, and it was a long day. But like Stan had said, at the end of the day, it's important that we got to win. It was 4-2. It was like an exciting game. When Villa scored first, of course, we all get worried because it's like boom and doom, right? But it's funny how we don't know who Party's backup was until we tried Jorginho. Yeah, in my opinion, he's been like one of our best players in the past 3 games, and he's done pretty well for us, I believe. And people are saying, well, like Tony had said, that we need new number 8 on the left hand side, but those 2 goals were not caused by them. They were caused by Zinchenko's mistake. He got outbullied by Cash. And the second goal was just play off, not man marking. And so, those are the fault of those players. But that said, we fought back. I think it's like Stan had said, it's a lesson to the young players that we have, that you can't let down a goal or 2 in the first half or first. You can't go behind, right? Whenever you're most talented club on the pitch, right? So, like the junior had said in his interview, this is the best league in the world, and you fight back, you fight to the end, and that's what they did. And I found it kind of comical how during World Cup, Emi Martinez was like arrogant and cocky with his win against France, and yet he caused his own goal against his former team, and it's pretty funny. But I got a big kick out of that. But I think it was Matt or Gary had said that Martinelli came on and said very well. He assisted Eugenio's goal, or assisted on his shot on goal, and then he scored a goal against an empty net. So I'm pleased with the result, of course, but those 2 goals could have been easily prevented. But they had to learn from those mistakes, and hopefully Zinchenko, he had a good strike there on the second half to bring us level. But still, he has to work on his defense. And but all in all, I'm pleased with that we fought back. I think in the past they have a hard time with getting scored on early, and they just give up, or they're playing boring football and they don't attack as much. So, I'm sure we'll talk about individual performances, but I think Jorginho has done well for us since he signed. So, no matter how long he stays with us, it's we should appreciate the victories and his hard work while he's still here.
No, you're right. You're right. We did show a lot of resiliency in this game, which we've been lacking in the previous 4 matches. We always seem to be able to respond immediately and respond with some clinicalness. We weren't doing that before. We definitely did it in this match. So that's good to see that we're back to that. We did fall asleep at the wheel a couple of times, and we need to be a little bit more cleaner with how we play. All right, so got a couple of, let's see. Yeah, I think I did call. Oh, I'll let you know, Ryan, about that. But I did call him an idiot. But there's some other stuff I said as well about Arteta, and we'll get into that as well. Anybody else joining us? Hopefully, I don't think I missed anybody else.
He stepped over to the dark side for a quick second.
I did, and as soon as I said the word I said, I basically said, "I can't believe I just said that."
Yes,
Can't believe I just said that. But yeah. So Mr.
I'm
Tom
not
would have
blaming
been
on
proud
the
of me.
hoodie you've been wearing, Gary.
The what?
It's for
I have
hoodie
no idea.
with dark Sith of New Jersey.
You know what? Before I think we were talking about this, I was talking to Matt. I was like, the hoodie might have to go on if this weekend doesn't go as planned, and I've been able to keep the hoodie down. So Arteta and Arsenal, help me out. I don't like the hoodie when it goes up. So Mr. Tom, talk to me. Did you get to watch the game first off? Because it was pretty.
Nah, I was asleep.
12:30 game. You were asleep. Yeah, it was pretty early. So talk to me, anyways. You said you got some things to say. This might be a little way either for you to talk about what the game itself, or whatever it is you wanted to talk about.
Prepare for the situation.
All right. There we go, people.
What are you drinking there? What you got there?
Oh, big boy, yo.
What is it? John Smith's. Okay.
John Smith. Well, we had a great weekend, everyone. You won. We won. Leeds United under 21s defeated Aston Villa tonight by a score of 2-1 in Premier League 2, Division 2. All right. So we're all winners, and I'd like to celebrate that with my brothers. Yeah.
There you go. Cheers.
Cheers. Brendan Aronson scored as well because he was playing at his true level.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow. I didn't. Wow. Okay. I was like, I don't remember you guys scoring this weekend because when you said his name. Wow. Okay.
That hurt a little bit.
He plays for the national team, but he's not good enough to play Premier League English football, huh?
I would argue his performances haven't suggested he's good enough to play much. So,
Fair play.
Damn. Anything else you want to say before we move it along?
yeah, I never thought I would ever be in a situation on this earth where I was sat or stood or half like a crouching type thing, where I was ever thinking, we really need Rafa Benitez to be our head coach. Like, it's kind of just a bit of a sobering thought, really. I mean, it's just. Can
Is
you
he
imagine if
available?
your club? He is available. Apparently, he's interested. I don't know why he would be. I don't know anyone who would want this job. It's ridiculous. Your Premier League club in 2 weeks and no one still wants that job. What's going on behind the scenes that are making people go, no, I don't fancy this, actually?
Patrick Bamford.
Let me tell you something about Patrick Bamford, right? I got some fit. Like, no,
Junior Firpo.
no, I'm not going to pick on.
Oh, those are like fighting words.
No. Firpo's the only reason we're 19th instead of 20th. He's a hero.
I know.
He's a hero. He's the greatest. Senior Firpo has done a lot to be proud of. That's all I'm going to say. His son's a credit to him. But no, seriously. Obviously, it wasn't our finest hour, was it, on Saturday? I mean, it's hot. Ultimately, right, goals win games, and Leeds had 0 shots on target. So that will tell you everything you need to know about how that match went. I've done the anger thing here, all right? I've gone through the stages of grief, all right? It's done. I'm over it, right? And we'll restart it again when Southampton beat us on Saturday. Probably live on the road trip.
You're not that bad. You're not that bad. You
We'll
get the
find
win
out.
there. I'm expecting a win there. I mean,
Yeah.
they beat Chelsea, and you guys built Chelsea, so there you go.
Everyone's beating Chelsea. I was speaking to I was speaking to someone who coaches a group of under 9s, and I think they beat Chelsea in a friendly last week. So,
All right, let's get into the chat and then we'll move this along here. Watkins' goal. I heard people say, that goal from Watkins was really nice. I mean, if the defense is going to give you the space and time that you need, you make sure you finish it. And this is exactly what he did. I think Saliba in that situation, and we'll get into this in our next talk. I'm either thinking we can either talk about the mistakes or the goals, whichever one you choose. I think it's probably good to get, we can do either one of those because they both were part of this game. The goals were really good and the mistakes were really glaring. Let's see. Villa was so naive defensively. Mings with header the worst part of the field, definitely. And Villa not having proper game plan for our short corners. For sure. We'll get into Nketiah. Yeah, I think that name's going to come up. Colonel Ward, welcome to the show. I saw your tweet. I guess I can sing. Yeah. Who's this? Javi Garcia, former Watford and Valencia manager, rumored with Leeds.
He's the betting favourite, but
owners want to go cheap and cheerful with the Leeds manager. Oof. Is that always a good thing? I don't know.
They want to give everyone a 4-month contract, basically.
We did. It didn't do us too much harm, did it? We went cheerful and cheap with Arteta. In novice manager, very low salary compared to most other managers, and it's working out.
You got to give him time, and we'll get into that as well. Because last time Nketiah got a shot on target, yeah, that's going to be a talk here. Oh yeah, he did have a header on target. It didn't move the goalkeeper, which is why does no foreign manager want the Leeds job? Simply, really, nobody wants to live in Leeds. Oof. You always got to you got to ward always. He always has some.
They don't even give you like a hotel room, apparently. They give you like a room, a box room on top of a sweet shop.
That's not
All
fair,
right,
Stan.
so-
He asked for that.
I know he did. I know.
They put him in a 5-star hotel, and he literally turned around. I swear he said this and went, "Why can't I just have a cheap room near the training ground? Because I'm never going to be in it anyway. Because I'm going to be at the training ground."
Plus, they
So
sell
they put
fags.
him
They
in a-
sell
they-
fags in the shop downstairs, and they didn't sell them in the hotel. So it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just put them on
All
his
right,
tab.
so man, let's get into
20
so,
Benson on his tab. I can see him every morning. Just put it on my tab.
Hey, that cratching, man. That was special.
yeah. All right, Matt. So I don't know how you want to proceed, but as I said, there were some really nice goals in this game, but there were also some really glaring mistakes in this game.
I'm going to make
However
this
you want to
real
proceed
quick.
with that, huh?
I'm going to make this quick because I got to hop off at 8. I got to
Okay.
call. I'm going to say
Yep.
this. We need another striker. Eddie Nketiah is not it. Hadn't been it for the last 5 games. And
We can say 5
Yes.
years then.
I said almost 5 years now.
Stand up.
This is what you get when you get stand on with me, man. Yeah, he's right. Last 5 years, he's about right. But that output is this goal output is we cannot expect him to go on this 8, 9, 10 run of just scoring goals. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Arteta's gonna have to try something different at some point in that position. Me personally, I thought Trossard should have started right there. It had some interchanging going on Saturday. It worked out for us. Martinelli came on, but I would still revisit that because I just he's trying the best he can, man. But when you're not that striker, man, it shows up and unfortunately it's just not for him, man. It's just not for him. So that's my 2 cents on that, and I think that's pretty much about it that I can think
I think
of.
we got him for another 4 years, Matt, at $100,000 a week.
I try not to even think about that, man. I just hope.
So I like your style there, right? You drop them bombs, and then you're gonna slip off and leave us to pick up these pieces.
Yeah,
the Eddie
Yeah.
pieces.
Exactly. As soon as you put Eddie's name in there, it's just basically over at that point. It's like, damn. All right, so you're gonna head out.
Yep. I'm heading out. Got
Cheers,
it.
man.
There is
So-
mocktail,
This
cocktails.
client. I'm gonna try to hop back on.
All
Have a
right,
good
cool.
evening, man.
You too,
All
brother.
right.
Good to see y'all, man.
Hope to see you soon. Yep. All right. So, Tony, goals or mistakes or Nketiah? Where would you like to go?
I'd go with our poor shooting again. 5 shots on target, 20 shots. Again, not near good enough. They had 7 shots, 5 on target. So they took almost 1/3 of the shots and had just as many on target. I'm kind of like with Matt. I'd either play Trossard there, bench Eddie, or drop him back and bench Zaka. But overall in the game, there were some nice goals, but we're allowing too many goals now. I don't know what's happened with our defense the last 6-7 games. That's kind of a problem because we went from being clinical, not being clinical, and allowing goals to being not clinical and allowing goals. So that's why we're not picking up as many wins. This one, I don't think we deserve 3 points, but we got it in the end, and that's all that matters. But as Matt said, we definitely need a striker. Wish we didn't waste a year of Balogun's career. That year he didn't play in the under 23s until after the contract was done. The lad always wanted to play for Arsenal. Is just between his lawyer and Arsenal, trying to figure out something. I mean, already if he went out on loan, he would have came back and he'd be ready for us now. Instead, we're stuck with Eddie for 4 more years.
Yeah, and that's the history of our striker from Tony. Yeah, Balogun story has to come in there. Balogun, the leading scorer in, is it La Liga? Is that right?
Liga.
League.
Liga. Sorry, Liga. So yeah, that's another part, another talk we can talk about as well. Because what does the top scorer in Liga cost, right? But Stan, I'll let you continue on. Maybe we'll talk about Balogun in a little bit. But as far as the game, got the goals, got the goals or not none or opportunities lost, and the mistakes in that game. How would you what would you like to talk about in that respect there?
Well, it seems a while since we've been able to keep a clean sheet, which is a little concerning. Whether it's draws, or even wins, we don't seem to be able to, well, obviously with a draw, but we're not keeping clean sheets at all. And with Eddie Nketiah, I mean, I think in the last 2 matches now, it's 6 very, very good chances that he's had. And I think all of those chances have been in the penalty box as well. I'm not asking him to shoot from 45 yards out and try and curl it in and beat the keeper. Very good chances. And I know they're different beasts, but if you look at the game that we played against Man City, I think Eddie missed 3 very good chances there to put the ball in the back of the net. And you've got someone like Haaland who wasn't getting much service, but when he did get the ball, he put it in the back of the net. And I'm not saying that he should be as good as Haaland, but you're thinking if he's getting 3 chances, one of them needs to go in. And it seems to be a continuing story with Eddie. When he first came in for Gabriel, I saw hope and I gave him the praise when the praise was due, even though I had been critical of him in the past. I'm not stubborn, you know what I mean? I gave him the praise when due, but now I'm seeing a little bit of returning to type, and it does concern me. And, I've heard people say, like, well, if you look at what his contract is and everything over the 5 years, it's only 26 million. Where are you going to get a striker for 26 million? And my answer to that is, well, sometimes you only get what you pay for. And maybe if this is what the value of a 26 million striker is, then that's not what's good enough, I think, for Arsenal at the moment. So, I keep looking. I try to look at things game to game. And if he's going to be playing in the next game, I hope he can try and make up for it somehow. But, at the end of the day, you want goals to be spread out. If he goes and gets a hat-trick in the next match and then he's quiet again for another 4 games, that really doesn't help us in my eyes. So I think I mentioned it on Arsenal Fan Circle. My blueprint for Arsenal to have strikers would be 3 strikers. And if Gabriel Jesus is our number 1 striker because of the way he plays, his attributes and what he brings to Arsenal, then his replacement, if he goes out injured or has is booked out of the game, then his replacement needs to be someone that can fit in and have those similar attributes to him so that we continue to play in the same way. Then the backup striker, your number 3 striker, that's who I'd like to call my plan B striker, who has totally different attributes. Maybe he's a lot taller. Maybe it's someone that you cross into the box to get on the header of. Someone like a Giroud, but I would have 3 strikers at the club, and that would be the way that I would have my blueprint for the 3 strikers to give us more variety and cover for when your star guy is not available.
Yeah. And as you said, even though our defense has been poor for us, a lot of the keys to our games is how we score or not score. We'll go through the chats real quick here, and I'll save that message for you, Mr. Tom. So after Alonso, you get to chat about the coaches there. Yeah, I mean, Nketiah has scored 5 goals since Jesus has been out, 4 in the Premier League, but
2 in 1 game, wasn't it? 2 in 1 game as well, right?
Yeah,
2 in the Man United
yeah,
game, which
yeah,
is good.
2 in
I'm
1
not
game.
taking that away from now. It's good performance.
Yeah. No, I think it's. I mean, he's done. I think he's done the best, the most. He's given us everything he can. It's like looking at El Neni and expecting him to be like Partey. We don't do that. So same thing for Nketiah. He is not Jesus, so he's not going to give us all the extra things that Jesus gets us. So we have to either change things around, makes things easier for him, right? And if we can, then it's okay for me. It's okay if we rotate. And for me, if Trossard was gonna, I didn't want Trossard to come off. I would rather Eddie come off because we were starving for opportunities up top. And then Kedia, I just don't think can play in those types of games where we don't have full control of the match, where all he has to really do is just sit in the box and wait. Yeah. Yeah, Matt will sing his song before he goes. I think he'll be back. He said he had a quick call, so hopefully he'll be back to sing the song. So there you go. So Balogun and Kedia have the same agent. Yeah, but only one of them can play for Arsenal, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think we can have both. So
why are you picking on Balogun then?
Who says I'm picking on Balogun?
Because you said only one of them can play for Arsenal, and it's obviously going to be Eddie that can play for Arsenal because he's great.
To you, yes. We want a lot more. We want somebody who can lead in the Liga. That's what we need. Yes, it's a step down to the Premier League. But if I told you, if you're going to go out there and get me a young striker, and I said, here's the CVs of our strikers, one is better than Messi and Mbappe and leads Liga. One hasn't led his team in scoring.
Tony never wrote that. Sorry.
So
outrageous.
All right. So our phone went off when Eddie started missing presentable chance. I think the chances have gotten a little bit more difficult for him. They're not like tap-ins. All right. He does that little backflip that he does in the EFL. But other than that, I haven't seen him be as clinical. So he's coming into his own, says BX is a quality player. It's just that we're in a serious title hunt that has many. He is not for if we're talking about winning a title, he's not the player for us then, right? There are certain levels to this thing, right? And he's just not the one. So I think that's kind of the thing. If we're looking to win a title,
right? If so Ariba, can I ask a question? If Odegaard gets that goal in, because it was a good pass from Eddie and Ketia, are we still having this conversation, or is it not as heavy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't score, so it doesn't matter. But he was a good pass and would have been an assist, right?
You know what? I kind of feel like that is one of there's more cons to his pros in that game. So yes, he did have that one pass, but then there's probably a lot of opportunities where either he wasn't even there or he missed chances. He can't play the way Jesus does. So then, like I said, he doesn't offer us enough to where, okay, you're not scoring. We can still get something out of you. Right. It's one of those things where what else can he do? Right. You were just talking about it there, right? If Jesus is our typical striker for Arteta, then the number 2 has to be similar, right? Or the number 2 or 1A, B, whatever you want to call it, but then a third striker has to be somebody who offers something different that you can win games with. And right now, Nketiah doesn't offer us that, so he needs to work on certain parts of his game, and I don't know. We don't really have the time for him to learn it, right?
Well, he's almost 25, isn't he? How long is it? Yeah. How long is it going to take? You know, you have to remember, sometimes when we talk about Eddie, I have to pinch myself and keep reminding myself I'm not talking about someone who's like 18 or 19. Right. He's 24, 25, right?
I think he's 24, I believe.
24.
24, yeah. All right. So, Lonzo, sorry, I didn't mean to take some of your minutes there, but you still get the same minutes. So, Lonzo, we're talking about either our goals or lack thereof goals or mistakes, anything that highlights that you want to talk about in that respect.
Yeah. I mean, we got bullied in our first goal, similar to what Everton did to us when we played them. And that game wound up being 0-1 win for them. And it's kind of hard to identify which Arsenal club is the one that's going to win us the title, right? You're talking with ones that can never come back and fight like they did against Man United and Aston Villa, or you're talking about the club that's going to not score any goals that they've hit against Newcastle and Everton and City, right? So there's like a two different teams there, and I think you saw the best teams, the best Arsenal team when they beat Brighton and they beat United and they beat Villa over the weekend. Of course, there's concerns, but I think whenever you heard the game on Saturday on 6:30, you're hearing the announcers saying, "Well, Nketiah's touch has failed him because he's gotten these positions to shoot and or they get saved or to get missed, and he's trying, but those goals just aren't going in for him, which is unfortunate." Because I really do want to root for Eddie. I like Eddie as a person, as a player. It's just he's unlucky sometimes, and it's just not him that misses goals. It's also Martinelli. It's also Odegaard, Xhaka. So it's just not him. But I think we depended more on Eddie because he's Gabriel Jesus' replacement. And on that contract as well, there's that pressure to kind of justify that contract, right? I think you mentioned it before, Gary, that it's always good to have competition in each position. And if I were Eddie Nketiah, I would want to take over Gabriel Jesus' position at the club, right? But he hasn't grasped that opportunity, in my opinion. We've seen flashes, and you want to root for Eddie because he's a Howland graduate, right? So the moment's there, but he just hasn't captured it, unfortunately. I mean, the best game was Manchester United game because he was focused, he was pressing, he was doing all the good things right. And he hasn't gone missing, but he just hasn't hit the goal on target, which is unfortunate. So you want to root for Eddie Nketiah, at least I do, because he's an Arsenal player. We never know. Maybe he could score 2 goals next weekend and then go on a massive run. That's what we want to do. But yeah, back to my previous statement. I think Zinchenko is good offensively. I mean, you've seen that with the left side earlier this season where they're him and Martinelli and Xhaka are playing well together, but that's not gone in my opinion. You see Martinelli kind of slip off in the previous weeks. You've seen Zinchenko, getting bullied and missing the ball, or he's getting the balls intercepted or whatnot. So that part needs to get fixed and soon because we need that left side gelling like they did beginning of the year. So, you can only hope for the best, and hopefully Arteta can get the guys to get that fixed on that side because they're doing so well in the beginning of the season. So yeah, I mean, you can hold me hope that they can fix things like they have been. And Leicester's a tough place to play because it's been tough in the past.
No, I hear you, and you're right. Everybody, as far as shooting, Eddie is no different than most of our other plays. But the key to everybody else, they offer us something else, and that's what can't be overlooked, and that's what makes it a little bit difficult to stomach just the misses because that's one of the key things he has to do for us. We talked about it when Jesus went down. All right, now we've got a striker who we believe is a little bit better is more clinical than Jesus has been for us this season. I believe that was one of the comments that came up. That's one of the things we were looking for him to do is make sure that, when the ball gets into the box, he scores. So, and as you said, the goals dry up and then they come back again. I mean, if you look at it, he scored 7 goals in like 7 games, and now he's on a 5-game streak where he's offered nothing, and that's going to happen throughout the season. And I guess it's also partly on Arteta that he doesn't feel that he has another answer, which I do believe he does, and that's probably part of the problem. He doesn't feel like he can rotate his players.
So hold on,
always
am I
talk
right in
about this-
saying? Am I right in saying that he scored 4 goals in the league, right? Premier League, 21
4
matches,
goals in the league. Yep.
4 goals. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he scored in West Ham match. He scored.
Yeah.
Brighton, he scored 1, and then in United,
2.
Manchester United, he scored 2.
Okay.
But but like I said, in 7 games, he scored 7 goals.
And
So,
Gabriel, when
that's-
he was in, he was providing more assists as well, wasn't he?
yeah,
He was
that's the
creating things
difference,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
So,
look
like
at
I said, he has to
Gabriel.
do a little bit extra when he's not scoring. That's the same thing we asked of Lacazette. Remember when Lacazette wasn't scoring for us? He was trying to do everything he could. He'd come back and play defense if he could, and he did. So that's the difference there.
Let's have a look at.
So we'll get to Mr. Tom here. And
I'm just looking at Gabriel Jesus, right? And he's been
Mm.
in 14 games and he scored 5 goals, but he's also had 5 assists as well in the Premier League. So you see the value there, right? The difference there with Eddie. 21 games, 4 goals, no assists. And okay, he didn't start in every single game, but he's had quite a fair run at it. It's quite a big drop off.
he started 18 of 30 games this year for Arsenal. Most of as half and half in terms of Europa League. He's played in all of those, and then the last basically every game since Jesus has been out. So I kind of feel like the same way we talk about maybe Saka needs a little bit of a break because he might be overwhelmed, tired, brain shot, whatever you want to call it. And Keita, I would be surprised if he's not. All right, because he hasn't been playing that often, and now he's been thrown in there to just go in there and play. So,
But again, though, I know, but he wanted it, didn't he? He said, "I've got to start games,"
yeah,
and he's been playing 1 game a week with rest, and his training. I would have thought that should be chomping at the bit, and I think I heard today that he might be injured.
and
I saw
Ketia,
something about him being injured. I saw somebody tweet. I saw pictures of training. The tweet said, and Nketiah was missing, I think, because of injury.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how serious it is. I don't know if it's true, but it does make me think, okay, if he's not available for the next game, it's going to be very interesting for me to see what decisions Arteta makes to fill that space.
Yeah. If he is injured, I don't think it's a surprise. He is being not necessarily. I don't even think he's been overworked, but he's been playing pretty much. He plays when he plays. So he's played how many games now? 1, 2,
And me,
3,
Tony, and
4,
Alonso
5,
are allowed
6,
to play.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 matches he's played all but 1 minute.
Am I joking?
So, yeah, I heard you, Mr. Tom. So, Alonso.
I heard you, Mr. Tom. Alonso?
No, go on.
No, was it? Did Alonso already speak? He already did speak. Sorry, that's why I put this
No,
out.
no.
No. You confused me. I had it all in my head. I knew you were next.
Every fucking week. I want to know what Alonso thinks about Eddie.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So,
just saying.
Alonso, talk about Eddie and Kedia because Mr.
Tell
Tom
me about
wants to.
Eddie, Alonso.
Okay, so Eddie and Katie, right? So he has all the talent in the world to lead the line, right? But he hasn't, in my opinion, he's gotten chances. He just hasn't gotten them in the goal, right? I want him to succeed because he's a high-end graduate, right? But he just, I don't know, man. He's got unlucky because his final touches failed him. And it'd been kind of cool.
For you, man.
It would have been cool. It would have been cool. He got that header at the very end of the game, but he didn't. So, I hope I'm not going to give up on Eddie and Kedia. I just want him to do well.
I heard that. All right, Mr. Tom. You threw me off because I had you coming up next, and then you brought Lonzo's name in there. I was like, did I forget Lonzo?
Yeah.
Keep Alonso's name out of your effing mouth.
So, Mr. Tom,
Sorry,
you got, Do you want to talk about the Arsenal? But there are a lot of comments, a lot of questions here for you. So
I'm a questionable person. No, wait,
All right,
wait,
so-
that's not the sentence I meant.
you're a question. You are a question. No, you were right. You were right. That's okay.
I
Usually
meant
the
as
first
in
thing
people can ask questions, damn it. No,
you are
no,
questionable.
seriously. No, I'm upset. I put myself out there on the line for Alonso. Tell me about Eddie. And he goes, I don't know, man.
I answered the question twice, Tom. If you were to pay attention, I told the panel that
Yeah.
Eddie Nketiah is a good dude, but he basically needs to score more goals, right? And he'll be on and we'll give him a statue for winning the league.
Hey,
Yeah.
Alonso, I'm a questionable person, man.
That
I
is
don't know
actually
what
the
to tell
funniest
you.
thing that Mr. Tom demanded that Alonso tell us about Eddie. When if he'd been paying attention, he'd realise that he already had.
That's why I put this post
Listen.
up, because I was like, all right,
Listen.
next up is Mr. Tom. And then Mrs. Tom says, I don't want to
I'll
talk. And I'm
squash
like,
this.
what?
I'll squash this once for all. Can we all just agree I'm a massive prick and we'll move on?
No.
I'm not saying that.
I think I'm going to put that on a mug.
I'm a massive prick on my mug. What
I'm
is
a
the
massive
picture going to be?
Freak. Let's move on.
But where would you get? If you was to get a mug that said I'm a massive prick, and let's move on, probably with like a needle going into the Anyway, where would you get that?
Where would you get such a mug? You'd probably be able to find it on Etsy, and you'd probably be able to find it at a store called The Gooner Shack, where this mug is also available.
So as you can see on the little ticker there, the Guna Shack
Great
on
idea.
Etsy.
Great
Just
idea.
type that the Guna Shack in when you get to Etsy.com.
Ben,
And
my boy.
there you go. It will
Ben,
pop
can you
up here.
Tom is a cunt
So Mr.
copy
Tom,
bug.
let's get into it, because I started some things here with your name on it. So why don't you just start? Harry Redknapp. Want him?
No. I believe the rumours were created by Harry Redknapp. Okay. Because I read that could be like he basically said if I was asked, I'd be interested in it. But at the same time, if I was asked in 1995 to be at Pamela Anderson's tit warmer, I would have also agreed to that. But she didn't fucking ask me, and we didn't fucking ask Harry Redknapp. So fuck him.
How do you really feel?
I don't know
Tom?
how you correlated Pamela Anderson to Harry Redknapp. That just sounds like
1995, Pamela Anderson. It's very specific window
Oh.
of time.
is that
Prime.
the lifeguarding Pamela Anderson?
It may have been, yeah. It
The
was.
lifeguarding one.
No, Tom. Was it the barbed wire Pamela Anderson?
Barbed wire
I
one.
think
There
that
you
was
go.
1996.
Okay.
But you're right. Around the same time, like the point is, it's not what I said. It's not the quote. Sorry. No. I don't swear. All right. No. I think Tom should shave the beard, keep the goatee. Tony and Tom can be the goatee brothers of the wrestling world. You know what? That's a very nice suggestion, Colonel.
Sam Green was in the house.
All
Thank
right.
you for taking the
I'm,
time to
all
type
right.
that.
So I know I'm missing up on the messages. Anything else you want to talk about, Mr. Tom?
I do have a bag of crisps.
You have a bag of crisps. So you know what?
I've not.
Let me
been
go.
on
Let me
show
go
for
through the
2
chat,
weeks,
and then
so-
we'll do the chips, and then we'll continue on here.
Business has
Eddie will do what I tell him to
business has
do.
just
I'll be
picked
back.
up. Business has just picked up.
Yeah.
Sam
So let me
Green
go
was in
real
the
quick,
house.
'cause I
There's
know
a
I've missed some
Greenwood in
people.
the chat.
Right,
Yes.
Sam.
So Eddie will get more clinical. He's shown he can grow and get better. Eddie just bulked up big time. His frame is filled up. You know, I hear that, but as Stan said, he's 24, 25, and we've got a Balogun who's scoring at will right now. I mean, what else?
Eddie's
What
the
do you?
greatest.
So what are we looking for, right? Eddie and
Best.
Saka look like men now compared to last season. Yeah. But it's just a matter of, is Nketiah part of a Champions League Arsenal squad?
Probably.
You know,
Seeing as
Marcus
you've got him
joined
for
us.
4 more years, he will be. Yeah.
Yeah, so stats are great and all, but what Jesus does off the ball is a difference maker. No, that for sure, Mark. That is why I think for most of our other players, if they're having a bad day, a lot of times they can do other things. When their primary mission isn't fulfilled, they give us something else. So, Ray, and that means we have a full squad ready to go to war. Jesus makes everyone better. Yeah, Jesus makes everyone better. So let me see. Is it possible Eddie's being asked to do things that are not in his lock? Oh, definitely. Some would probably say scoring.
Hold on a minute. I like what getting. I mean, in the not the last game, the one before. I've said it before that with Eddie, it's not like he's just like ambling around, not getting into positions, just walking and doesn't want the ball, and is hiding in games. He's got a lot of energy, and I know that there were some people that say that putting the ball in the back of the net is the hardest part, and I agree to an extent. But sometimes getting yourself in the right position can be the hardest part. If you've got the ball and you manage to take it around a couple of players and now it's just you and the goalkeeper, you've done the hardest part for me. You've now got yourself into a free scoring position. You just got to take out the keeper. And for Eddie to get in between those two defenders, the way he got in between them and rose for that header, he's got to get that on target because he's done the hardest part. Surely the headering bit, it should be the easiest part for him to aim the ball on target. He got into such a great position, and that's what frustrates me about Eddie. It's not like he's doing a Mesut Ozil where he's just like giving up in games and just strolling around and being anonymous. He works hard. He must cover a lot of ground and he must sweat buckets. And so it's frustrating to see him do all of those things, get into the right positions. I mean, that diving header, it hits the bar, and there were some players that wouldn't dive in to get the ball because they think, I'm not going down there, I might get a boot in the head. But he's throwing himself in there and it's just not coming off for him. It's just not paying off. And it frustrates me.
Yeah. Yeah. If Eddie isn't fit, Jacques at striker scares me even more. So I hope that doesn't happen. Take away Eddie's goals from our results since coming back. Where would we be on points and in the table?
But we've given him plaudits when he's played well, haven't we? I have. Yeah. I've commended him after games that he's played well. But you have to talk about the barren spells as well. Yeah. You have to talk about what you see.
Like I said, looking at his
goals or assists, you're gonna have to talk about it.
Yeah, looking at his last, like I said, the goals that he scored, right? Against Brighton, he scored. Oh wait, that's the one goal in the EFL. The one goal against West Ham, we won that 3-1. One goal versus Brighton, we won that 4-2. 2 goals versus Oxford, 3-0 win. And Manchester United, we won 3-2. He scored 2 goals. So yeah, I mean, just on the goals since November, since November, he the one game where his goals really counted for us was in Manchester United. So those are, 3 points there, right? If that's where we want to go with this thing. So.
And also for me, there's no agenda. There is nothing. I would prefer to have a Roy of the Rovers, homegrown from the academy striker in my team than having to shell out 70, 80 for some big fancy damn name from over the water somewhere. I would prefer to have the Roy of the Rovers story. Someone that I know that, has come through the club and bleeds for the club and takes everything to heart. I would much prefer to have that.
Yeah. Ben, welcome to the show. Everybody's saying hello. We'll get into Stan's mugs in a little bit, or we'll let him chat about that in a second here.
I've done all that. Forget I've done that.
Yeah, so I think he's selling mugs. You can see he's got one, and I think Mr. Tom has a mug, and I saw a mug I might get. So there you go. Oh, and Tony, I almost clicked. I did click it. Ah! I thought I filtered that one out. Just block that, Tony Turner.
You are the absolute worst admin in the comment section. Sorry, there's no polite way. The dirt worst.
I thought mine was a perfectly fine idea.
Hello, Sam. Welcome to the show. I know they said hi to you earlier, but I hadn't got to the chat because Mr. Tom threw me off track here. Yeah.
And just to answer
I'll just-
your question there, Ben, we have spoke earlier about our defensive frailties at the moment, and we are not able to keep clean sheets at the moment. And you're right, Gabriel does have certain brain farts at certain times as well, and we're not finished yet. We just started on bad points and good points, and so so far an hour in, we're still on the bad points, and we haven't got round to Gabriel yet. So it's going to be a long night.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we got a full house, and there's a lot we can talk about.
I also
Right.
have a great question of the week.
Oh, perfect.
It's
perfect.
back,
So it's gonna be-
baby.
it's gonna
All
be a
my
good day.
nonsense.
Do you have a bag of crisps,
back.
Tom?
Yeah. Did
I
Stan
have
finish
one of them
GoldenEye, or
too.
did you find out how bad it looks in
Yes.
2023?
Yes. I was hoping this got asked.
There's one level in particular that was such a pig to get off. The one where you're in the control room, and you have the bird. You have the bird on the computer stopping the GoldenEye satellite, and you've got to protect her while everyone's coming in. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was. It's like it's the last time I threw a controller across the room, I was probably like in my early 20s.
Is that in the new one, or you mean the old one? Because even
It's on
in
the
the old one,
it's on the Xbox Game Pass. It's the same game. They've not remodeled it. It's literally the same game.
Right.
Natalia, you got to protect her while she's downloading.
She basically does everything you do not need her to do in that situation. Basically, it's like she's programmed to foul the mission.
No, she comes in and she just stands at this keyboard, but you've got like guards coming in from everywhere, like everywhere.
Yeah, but even before you get to that bit, when you actually get her out of the jail and that, and you're going through the corridor.
Oh right, hey, that's the level before when you got
yeah. But she will
keep going back for her.
Stand. Yeah, but she will manage to always put herself in the worst possible place in terms of her own safety.
Yeah.
Which is counterproductive when trying to stay alive, I'd imagine.
But yes, I did play it. It was a good nostalgia hit, and I did complete the end, but I haven't unlocked the 2 extra missions because there's no way I'm playing it on the secret agent levels and all that. It's too difficult.
A lot of Eddie jokes going on right now.
I played that game before I
Ian,
saw the movie.
welcome to the show. He's talking about Pamela Anderson's. And some people say these goals last season.
Ian's a fan of the Full Nelson podcast, and I don't think he's ever watched wrestling in his life. So
there you go. So yeah, guys, check it out. If you have not, check out Full Nelson. I think it's Wednesdays, and then on the weekends when there's a big event, they will be on. Yeah, it's good to see Mr. Tom back. Sammy, he shouldn't have. He'll have a parachute, and he'll more than likely break the core on the way down. There you go. That was one of the jokes about Nkedia, what he can and cannot hit. So, talked about goals and mistakes, and they ended up just talking about the players themselves. Mr. Tom, you have something else you want to say? You want to get into it? Let's do a crisp break. I had it all set up here.
I can't remember if I've done this one before, but it's time for my crisp of the week. Is that a thing? All right, let's do it.
Yay!
Yeah. Thank you, Gary, for the enthusiasm. Anyway, we are going with. I can't remember if I did this one before, but we're going with a company called Lorenz, apparently. I think they're Polish. And X-Cut kebab chips or crisps.
Wow! All right.
Chips.
No, I
That
don't
look
think
nice.
it's done that way.
That look nice.
Kebab, even though the picture makes it look like they've rubbed the crisps in shit.
I've never seen kebab flavour crisp before.
Let's do it. You'll all live vicariously through me.
There you
10
go.
seconds a week.
Oh, great.
Kebab flavoured crisps.
It
What's the
smells
smell?
beefy. It's
Okay.
very beefy.
Aren't kebabs made out of lamb meat?
They are.
Lamb, isn't it?
So in theory, yes.
Smelling of beef is not good to start, is it? It's just smell of lamb.
Bah!
Here we go.
Solid. Let me just do a couple more just to be certain of my grading.
And just while Tom is tasting that, for those viewers that are watching from the UK, you have to agree that Tom really reminds me of Mr. Baxter from Grange Hill. Seriously, man. I know we've had this conversation before, but the longer your beard is now at Mr. Baxter length as well. It's uncanny. Bullet Baxter.
You know what?
Can I do mine while we're waiting for Tom to figure out
chili sauce? Is there chili sauce in there or anything?
Chili sauce. You got to do it in the voice that they use. Let's go. Chili sauce, mate. That was it.
Sounds like it was the lamb beef VX Gunner. So Mr. Tony wants to. Why do you keep eating there? Tony wants to say something.
What's Tony got? We got there, Tone.
I got Caso de Ora.
That sound posh.
Fire roasted Hatch chili corn tortilla chips. I bought these 2 weeks ago because I didn't know I'd end up in a hospital for 8 days. So,
well, you thought they were going to last you the whole 2 weeks.
I tried not to bite into them. I was like, those sound good.
This fucking show has turned into like MasterChef or some shit. What's going on?
Yeah, so tell me, Mr. Tom, just get the rating so we can move on.
You know what?
Old school.
I'm
You know what I mean? That's how I roll.
I have decided on the grade. Oh,
On the Ritz,
Alonso's
mate.
got some. Alonso's got some. Full screening, please.
No. Tell me your score first. Then we'll move on.
Do they taste like kebabs? Does it feel like? Do you get a kebab sort of a taste from this? Because that's what they're claiming, right?
It doesn't. I think they've been quite cheeky with the naming, but they are.
Do they taste like barbecue, or is it different to barbecue beef?
It's similar.
All right, let's get the rating so we can. I have like 3 crisp segments here now. It's supposed to just be the one.
Okay. I can't help it, Gary, if my segments have captured the imagination of the audience and the guests on the show. They love my shit. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to give this a score of 1,400,092.58 out of 1,500,000.96.
That's a fair score. That's a fair score.
All right, cool. All right, and Lonzo, you had some crisp.
What you got there, Lonnie?
Can you set it up so we can see what they are, and then we'll come back to you for the score.
The American
Lay's classics,
Lay's
old school. Look at that.
traditional chip sandwich stuff. Lay's original from Frito-Lay.
Traditional. I like
What's the score you're gonna give that one?
A 1 out of 10.
What? They're better than that. Come on, they're better than that.
I give it to the salt, stuff like that, and the roundness of it.
Tony looks like a duck.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. There you go. Yeah, they you know what? They just came off the bench, and you really can't give them a full score, right? So
why does Tony look like? Why is Tony turned into a duck?
I don't know why he looks like a duck, but he does today.
Is that what his crisps have done to him? Oh,
yeah.
No,
So Tony, tell us the score so we can get out of this segment.
At first bite, they're like a 5.5, but then the heat and all the seasoning kicks in, so a 7.123.
There you go.
I love it. This is everything I hoped the segment would become.
I don't like nonsense, and that's what
serious
we just
shit.
did.
Serious business.
We did it. We just
could get a
had a lot
sponsor
of
out of it. You
nonsense
never
there.
know.
So here we go. Let's continue on. So that was a chip segment. Let's get back to some football or some
Was
other
this a football
stuff.
show? Okay.
Yes.
It used to be.
Yeah, as Sam says here, we have a tradition on relying on crap strikers in recent years. Ali Dyer, Sunogo, Julio Batista, Giroud when he was crap. Shoot, I mean, yeah, there was some bad days, some dark days, as they say. And Keita, as you say, he's not as bad, but we need better for this run we're on. So we didn't know if we are going to be on it until now, but I think we still wanted I wanted a better striker before the season started. So
you signed one to a 5-year deal.
Can I ask you guys a question as well
better.
about Granit Xhaka? Because he did have in that advanced position that he's playing, he has improved his game. But I've noticed now in the last few games, he's getting hooked, which is something that, Granit Xhaka, if he's fit, he plays all 90 minutes, right? He's being hooked. And it seems to be that it's the same player coming in that position. Would you think about that? Do you think that this is something that Arteta's got his eye on the longer view with, as I'm on Gary's show, Fabio Vieira? See the respect I'm showing you there. Right?
Thank you.
Is going to be taking that. He's going to be taking that place, or do you think it's just a case of Jack is looking a bit tired? I actually personally I think that Fabio Vieira has better tools in his bag for that position than Xhaka does. And what I mean is, in that position, you're going to be looking to maybe assist and take shots more. And I think Fabio Vieira has a little bit more about that than Xhaka, although I agree that maybe Xhaka has a slightly more physical presence at the moment. So I just wondered what you guys think about that.
As for me, anyways, I think the reason why we never got to really see Fabio Vieira, and it's because he never played with the first team, and our second team at that point was pretty poor. I mean, if you remember those matches, that we just struggled. We struggled a lot in those matches. So he didn't really get to play, and primarily was a big shock to him as it is. So I think it was a matter of the players around him. That was a problem. I don't know. Anybody else have anything to say about Fabio Vieira and Xhaka? And
yeah, I mean, I think I always want to root. I always want to root for Granit Xhaka and his second coming up, right? He had a second chance, and he's doing pretty well this year. But I think Stan, unfortunately, he's gotten really, really exhausted. In the level that he's been playing at, he's not used to, because the way Arsenal have been not that great in the previous years. So I'm hoping that he can find his rhythm again, because I want to root for Granit Xhaka. And I want him to be successful. And I think he's just not used to being at high tempo, pressing Arteta coach Arsenal. And
well, you think it's taking more out of him energy-wise in that position than it was when he was deeper?
I think so.
Okay, I never considered that, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
And Vieira is more younger. He's more fresher. But
he's not the most mobile of fellows to begin with, right? So
right, and so I think he's not used to that. But I think you're right, Stan. I think he has that physical presence where he's not afraid to knock around with the boys and give it back to them, right? But I think you're seeing a different Granit Xhaka where he would fight for your team, that really fight for them. But now he also realizes that he's also still a vice captain, and he's learned how to be careful with that. I noticed.
And just before you come in, Tom, sorry, go on, Lonnie. Sorry, before you go on. Sorry, mate.
And like you said, I think Vieira lacks that physical presence. He's not as grim and tough like Xhaka is, and I think that's the first statement from you, as far as he's more of a finesse player now, but hopefully he'll bulk up and improve the physical presence that Xhaka is now.
Just before you come in, Tom, I just wanted to say that last game where he got himself into the box and he looked like he didn't know whether to pass or shoot, and he hesitated. He was caught in two minds of, what am I going to do here? And by the time he was thinking about it, the ball got taken away from him, and he was on his arse, wasn't he? Sorry, Mr. Tom, go on.
No, I was going to say, it's a astute observation. I thought similar about Xhaka, where earlier in the season, he was riding this wave of Arsenal in a patch of form, which was obviously, I think it's fair to say, unexpected. Not in the terms of the first 5 games, you were supposed to get 15 points, and you did. But generally, trending-wise, up to Christmas, fair to say you overperformed, right? And what you'll find, a lot of footballers, what I'll get to why he's struggling a bit. You find a lot of footballers. You will not find a footballer on the planet who struggles to find the energy to move forward. But you will find lots of them that struggle to find the energy to run backwards or run back when you're out of possession and you've gone forward and it hasn't panned out and he's got to get back into the middle of the pitch. And that's probably where he drops off a bit.
Yeah, I definitely believe, like you said, I
Everyone's
believe.
amazing when you're in form.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
I
go on.
definitely believe, like you said, the reason why we didn't really were concerned too much about the way he was performing is because everybody around him was performing really well. I mean, Partey was clicking. I mean, everything was clicking around him. And the teams probably, some of those teams weren't as challenging as they are now and have things to lose. I think it's the intensity has gone up in the league now.
Mm-hmm.
Teams are looking at where they sit in the table and trying to figure out, I don't want to be here anymore. And teams are making moves which are creating even more pressure on these games. And now he needs to be able to show us more, and he can't. It's like in Kedia, we need him to show us more, and he can't because it's just there are levels to your game. So I know Tony.
So you're saying
you
that
said,
Jacko's plateaued? Then you're saying he's kind of.
I don't think he
plateaued
can
a
give
little
us
bit,
more.
or-
Once again, I don't. For me, everybody said, you know what, Xhaka, there's nobody out there that can do what
Yes.
Xhaka does. And I think, well, the things that they were talking about were the leadership and all those types of non-footballing things that he does as far as keeping everybody together. But Erdogan has picked up in terms of his leadership on the pitch. He's been a lot more vocal. We know Zinchenko. Now we have Jorginho, and then at some point Jesus will be back. And so all of those things we talked about, those leadership qualities that he brings, we have that now in multiple places, like we wanted. And now it's all about what talents do you have, what skills can you present on the team for us. And I don't think he has some of those skills that we're looking for. And that's why it wasn't, like you said, I mean, that one opportunity where he had 2 players on either side of him.
Oh, yeah.
And he could have passed it to Nketiah, could have passed it to Martinelli. He didn't do any of it. And
Or pulled the trigger.
Or pull the trigger, and he didn't do either. I'd rather him take the shot and I go, damn it, it went over, than nothing, and he's on the ground, So, Tony, I don't know if you have anything else to say on the Xhaka and Fabio
Good point.
discussion.
Yeah, for me, I would look at Zinchenko or Trossard first. Trossard's played that position more than any position he's played this year. He's played left mid. Zinchenko, I don't think he's that great defensively, so he'd be better going forward. He goes forward anyway. I think either one of those players is better than Xhaka. I would keep Vieira as a winger or somewhere attacking up there. I want to drop him back.
But
So, 1 minute, Alonso. If there's one player, right, our first starting 11, let's say Eddie's out and Jesus is in. If there's one player you'd want to upgrade on, let's use that phrase. You would upgrade on. Who would it be? And for me, it would be Xhaka.
Yeah, that'd be Xhaka.
Okay, I just wanted to check that. Okay, anyone else good? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alonso. Go on, mate.
So, Tony, I kind of disagree with you with Zinchenko being the left 8. To me, he gets bullied a lot, and it showed against Aston Villa, right? That's one thing that worries me about Zinchenko playing that position. Yeah. He's a little bit not as intimidating as Xhaka is. So that's kind of iffy right there, but I don't mind Trossard or even else as well playing that position as well.
That's a good point. If okay, then and you could create another question. If you could replace Xhaka in our squad with one player that's already here at Arsenal, who would you choose?
Merciful.
Gary?
If it's in Xhaka, yeah, for me,
It's scrunched up your face there.
yeah.
You're like,
Because now
oh.
you ask me a question, I have to answer it. Nah.
Is there anyone that you?
I mean,
who would you put in?
you know what? I think I don't necessarily agree with Lonzo on Zinchenko moving up and it being an issue for him. I think playing defense puts a lot more pressure on you because if you screw up, there's nobody behind you. Whereas if he's in the middle of the pitch, you have a little bit more confidence, and that's what we saw from Xhaka, right? You moved him up closer to the goal, to our goal that we're scoring on, and the pressure of like, all right, there's nobody behind me except for this back line, and if I screw up, if I can't make it back, then they're in trouble. So I kind of feel like Zinchenko could do it. I mean, we have Trossard, we have Emile Smith-Rowe. I think we have a lot of options there, which for me are much better attacking wise.
Who would you
I think
pick?
Emile Smith-Rowe, if he was healthy, could play in that position because he hasn't really had the opportunity to do that. Because we always thought, well, Jacques is always going to play, and Odegaard is there. So
No one's
he
saying
doesn't play.
teabag. Sorry, Fabio Vieira. No one's saying that. No one saying that.
I think he's behind. I always felt like he's behind Erdegaard to me. So like Emile Smith-Rowe
More
for
central.
me, yeah. For me, that's kind
I
of what I
did.
feel about. That's what I feel about Fabio Vieira. I mean, for me, all of those players that were any player that we name, for me, attacking wise, they're all better than Xhaka. Right? I believe they all have something about them. I think what we saw from Fabio Vieira, he'll be more likely to take that shot than he might pass it, but he'll be more likely to take that shot if he can't find anything at the time.
I think Fabio Vieira would be the one that I would edge
Mm.
towards. Because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he needs to be built up and he looks a bit slight," but Santi Cazorla wasn't the biggest of people. He did all right.
Yeah, and I don't think Erdegaard is considered that a big of a brute up there either, and we love him, right? So I mean, I think it's a matter of that aggressiveness that you need up there. I don't think is as big of an issue because Xhaka's presence doesn't help us in those type of situations when we need him to move forward up the pitch. He needs to be a lot more better and a little bit more clinical. Sorry, I know others had opportunities. Is that I don't know, Tony? Did you answer that question? Who your replacement is for Xhaka? You did.
No,
right?
I did not.
Okay.
It'll be it'd most likely be Zinchenko because I like what he does going forward.
Mm.
He likes cutting into the middle. Kind of what they've been trying to do with Xhaka, but he's faster. He's a better attacking player. Like you said, all those players are better, but for me, it'd be either Zinchenko or Trossard.
So we have options, though, right? There are options.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Tom, you got anything on that one?
Yeah, basically, I think very few players in your 11 lineup would be safe. Obviously, Eddie's safe for undisclosed personal
Should I
reasons.
mute him or should I kick him off the show?
Undisclosed personal reasons, obviously.
But just looking at Xhaka though,
Ramsdale,
but Xhaka primarily. Do you see anybody in our squad who you think we could start having Xhaka on the bench, for example, and starting somebody else within what we have? Or would you stick with Xhaka?
I suppose the only reason I'd stick with Xhaka is because that's basically been what you've done for years. Is that regardless of what he's done, or his relationship with the fans, or his performances, he's cemented the place, and they've not really. I'm sure someone's going to tell me I'm wrong, like because you've known.
No. But the question is, we need to replace him.
It feels like you've not. No, but it feels like there's been no concerted effort to do that. Is my point.
Yeah.
It feels like the club goes out of their way to make him feel more secure in his position in squad.
Yeah, he's like our Phil
Or in
Jones.
the 11.
He's like our Phil
I
Jones.
hear,
He
I
ain't
hear
going
you on
nowhere.
that. I hear you on that.
At least he plays though.
We need one of those Monica Lewinsky moments. Not Lewinsky. We need one of those Tanya Harding
Tanya
moments.
Harding.
You know. Sorry, I don't know where I got Monica Lewinsky. That did not make.
That'd
That
be
didn't even.
interesting.
That didn't even. Sorry, people. That was a.
You know
slip.
what that's got to do with football?
I has nothing to do. With
I
our
did not. No, sorry.
All right, so let me go through the
Don't
chat
give her
because
a
there was a lot of talk and I missed a lot.
Sam,
I
you
didn't.
impersonate presidents.
I
Can
skipped
you-
over it.
can
No,
you create
stop it. Let's
something
not
for
go there.
Saturday?
Let's move on. Let's move on. Sorry, I didn't mean to start you up. I wasn't trying to start you up.
Pink
But
cushions.
you
I love
guys
it.
were going through all the
I
strikers.
love
Freddie
it when
Jeffers,
a plan comes together.
Haha Swan Neck. I forgot about him. I was gonna say his name, but then I was like, nah, I don't want to bring it up.
It's my card, Dennis.
It brings up nightmares when you saw him on the pitch. You're like, well, damn, we're not scoring today.
Hey, Gary, can I add to that?
Can you go ahead add to it?
This is my comedy, Dennis.
Oh boy.
That's not PG.
This is
We
my
talk,
card.
we talk about some of the good things now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Time.
Or should we just
Yeah.
keep caning everybody?
No. So here's a good thing. I'll start it out. Good things in the game. Good things in the game. As I said, for me, my man of the match, anyways, and was Jorginho. I kind of felt like we were wondering, Partey's out. What do we have? And I don't believe we've missed him. I don't believe he's not the same player as Partey, but I don't think we've missed him at all. Right? I
thought
don't
you
think
said
we
we
missed
missed
him at
him
all.
the
He
first
brings
game,
brings some leadership in the middle there. Huh?
I thought you said we kind of missed him the first game.
I said he offers. I said, you know what I said? Also, I said Jorginho. One of the things that he wasn't doing it as much as I would have liked was he wasn't progressing the ball up the pitch. He's been doing a lot of that, and as the game progressed, he got better at it. And I think he was just getting his feet wet, essentially. But in that game, in that same match, I don't think missing Partey was the reason why we struggled. You know what I mean? Against that was against City, right? I don't believe in that City match, Partey being out was one of the main reason why we lost. I think we had opportunities to score in that match. We made multiple mistakes, which gave us goals, and I don't believe Partey was the reason why we made those mistakes. I think those were just kind of us sleeping at the wheel there. But Jorginho, I believe, once again, we've got another leader in the house. Once again, we've got a player who gives us something a little bit different than Partey, but gives us what we need to get the job done. And that's what we've been looking for, right? We don't want to. The gap between Partey and Jorginho isn't as big as what we had before. It's a little bit better than El Neni, right? But it's not Sambi. So I feel like we're much better off there. So I like what he's been given to us, and it sounds like in the locker room he's been just another voice that we've got. So we'll take that. Tony,
Yeah, before we go, can
go
I
ahead.
threaten Matthew's Greengrocers, please?
Threaten them? Why?
They've been giving it large.
Matthew's Greengrocers, 143 Stoke Road in Gosport, wherever that is. It's in Gosport. How dare you use Mr. Tom's Family Butchers and Tony's Fresh Fish in your advertising without my permission? How
That
dare
will not be
you?
tolerated. Not
I
tolerated.
did not even know that was a thing.
Not
I'm
tolerated.
coming for you.
I didn't know it was a thing.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you use Tony's Fresh Fish without his permission?
There's going to be reprisals, Matthew. So,
For the full
Coming
Nelson,
for you.
they'll give you a full Nelson.
Yeah. The assemble. I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know what I
Reprisals.
said as far as blaming the tactics. Some of the tactics I didn't like, but that's more because of the player movement. But Tony, play. Let's highlight some players. Highlight a player for me that stood out for you in the match.
I'm about ready to go with a player. I thought Jorginho did good because he's, like you said, he's progressing the ball more. It does take you a while to get used to playing with other players, but I just don't think we've missed Partey that much, which is a good thing. The only bad thing is that we have 4 midfielders that are over 30 years old. We're definitely have to go after that when the shop window opens. But I thought he had a good game. And he probably stands out more than the rest of them do.
Cool.
I've got a
Stan,
question for you all.
let us get through this segment real quick
No,
here.
it's a serious football question. It's
You're
not-
after me.
it's not-
You're
it's
after
not-
me. So just
it's not
hold
one of
tight.
my gimmicks.
Just
You're
shut
next.
up for 5 minutes.
You're next.
Tom.
Right. So with Jorginho, right? The only difference that I really notice about with him is that when he does pass the ball, he doesn't have as much fizz or speed on it. He gets to its destination, it gets to the person, but it gets there a little bit slower and it slows things down a little bit. And that's just me trying to find, trying to be objective and see the differences between him and Partey. Other than that, there doesn't seem to be a huge drop off. My only worry is that it's like El Nene and Holding. You put them in at little bits and pieces, it's okay. But if they have to be in for too long a time, that's when you start to suffer. So it's going okay now, but I don't want to see Jorginho playing with us, say, for a month. Do you know what I mean? Because then maybe he may get exposed. So to come in and patch up what he's doing, he looks really well and he's warming to me, much in the same way as I said before. When I found out that we were signing Danny Welbeck from United, I was like vexed, mate. Well vexed. Danny well vexed, I was. Oh, what are you buying this guy for? And I felt the same with Jorginho. But it's what they do on the pitch in my shirt that makes me see, okay, well, I can be won over because I'm not stubborn. And Jorginho so far is doing the right things and saying the right things. And that goal that he's, for me, that's his goal, not an own goal by Martinez, because it doesn't happen without him taking that opportunity. And you saw with that bit of play, he was standing there, wasn't he, waving, I want the ball. Give me the ball. It didn't just get to him. He was calling for the ball. And that's what I want to see from my players. But I would say that the one that stood out for me the most is young Saka. Because, as I said on Arsenal Fan Circle on Thursday, about a season and a half ago, I was thinking to myself, he's good, Saka, but are we overhyping this young kid maybe a bit too much? Let's be a little bit calm. As of today, I think he's mustard, mate. He is the real deal. He's got balls of steel. The way that he took that penalty against Ederson, and Ederson was trying to put him off his game. The goal that he scored in that last match, it went in such a tight angle that it literally came in and skidded the top of the net as it went in. There was, margins in this game, right? It was in and skidded. The keeper wasn't getting to it. He impresses me every week that goes by. He's the real deal, and I think that he was my man of the match.
Yeah, no. The only reason why I didn't give it to Saka is because I felt like after he put his leg in there and got it kicked by the player clearing, he didn't, his levels dropped considerably, and that's probably that was understandable.
Can I just answer this question from the assembled? He said, "Is Jorginho's passing more accurate than Partey's?" I don't know. I've not looked at the stats, but what I would say is that Partey seems to, when he passes the ball, it happens quicker. The movement from the time he gets the ball and he releases the ball, it seems to happen quicker, and the team seem to be on that tempo. Whereas with Jorginho, and I've only seen a couple of games, and I'm classing this from not the last game, the one before, because the last game I saw highlights. So just from what I've seen in that previous game, when I watched him for a full 90 minutes, the passes were slower. They got to where they were going. He didn't turn the ball over, but him getting the ball, turning and passing, it seemed a little bit slower than what Partey does. So players were having to maybe take a second because the ball's not quite to them yet, and it slows our game down a little bit. But if we could get past that and still win games, then so be it. He's a backup.
Yeah. All right. So Mr. Tom had some nonsense he wanted to talk about.
Oh, two bits of nonsense. 2 bits. I created a new bit of nonsense. I created new nonsense in the time it took Stan to deliver that and answer a question. All right, the first bit, the new bit of nonsense, not the original nonsense. Did you know that in 2014, NASA emailed a wrench to space when an astronaut aboard the International Space Station required a ratchet in socket wrench? NASA had one designed and emailed the file to the astronaut. A 3D printer aboard the International Space Station built the tool in 4 hours. This was the first time an object had been designed on Earth but built in space.
I have a question. When you do something on a 3D printer, is it made out of paper?
All depends on what you have.
Generally, it'd be like this plasticky type thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like a hard plastic. That's why
I was going to think like they're like we've got the wrench, and I go undo the nut, and it just crumples onto the metal nut. And you're like, oh.
Usually plastic like this 3D. This is 3D printed.
All right, so let Lonzo get a say before you have whatever your second piece of nuts.
Genuine question for you all the Arsenal fans. All the Arsenal fans. Genuine question. Sorry, Alonso, but you can answer this as well. If you had not overturned the 2-1 deficit on Saturday, who would you have got fired this week?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead. Yep, you can do it.
These nuts. Anyway, Tom.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we definitely would have been upset. I don't think we could have picked one person for that because one was Zinchenko on that, giving the ball up the way he did, and then the second goal, pick anybody you want. As I think there was a comment in there about our midfield basically just being a sieve and just letting everything through, and that's basically what happened on that second goal. I mean, we didn't stop anybody. They basically we looked like cones. We were chasing ghosts. So it's hard to pick one person.
Missed chances though as well, right?
Yeah.
Heads usually roll though, don't they? When Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like you said,
I would have blamed Eddie, Mr. Tom. All right.
So if you want to pick somebody,
it sounds like
Eddie, yeah.
There's rules. There's rules. There's levels to these blamings.
Yeah,
as Gary would say.
There are levels to
I'll listen
it for
to
sure.
you, Gary.
No,
I'll
I hear
listen
you.
to your phrases. I know your phrases. Don't worry. I pay attention sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know what would have happened when we lost that. It's just I don't want to think that. I don't want to think like that, right? But no,
the assembled.
I think it would have been the fact that we're missing Partey and Jesus, and those players would have been missed, and those at a point where we needed them, especially Jesus, right? Because I keep saying I always want. Can I get that one player to do something, right? Come on, one player, give me something, and that was Saka with his shot, right? That was Zinchenko with his shot. That was who else scored for? Who scored for us? Zinchenko's strike. I mean, those are those one just give me something, right? Those three moments, and then Martinelli just finishing off with Fabio Vieira. That was just nice there, but we needed those one moments, and I think we got a lot of them in this match. So sometimes you just can't do it within the system. You're just going to have to break out and do it on your own. So Tony, I forgot what was the question again. I forgot. Who's getting fired if we lose 2-1?
The photographer guy.
The photographer guy. All right, so there you go. See, the man has nothing to do with this.
New recurring segment. It's gonna be a new segment every week. It's if you lost, who would be getting fired?
I want us to do that another 16 times.
Right.
Can we do that another 16 times? I like that segment. If you lose, who's getting fired?
It's like The Apprentice, but worse, and involving Arsenal.
There you go. All right, we're almost up to 100 minutes here. I know Matt said he was going to come back, but he did not. He said it was a work related, so he said he would try and get back to us. But we are hitting around the 100-minute mark, so we will start our descend into. Yes, sir.
My man of the match.
You what?
Man of the match.
Man of the match. Yeah, that's what we kind of talked. I said mine was Jorginho. I think Tony said Jorginho. Oh, what's yours? Sorry.
I didn't go. Right.
Yes.
So it's not a popular choice. And no, I'm not going to say Karen Gibbs. My man of the match is Ben White. I think that he came in, though he got benched against City. I think Ben White really put in a good game. I think he had a lot of service through the left-hand side. I think he's kind of underrated as far as the reason why we're playing so good, or at least top of the table, is because Ben White has been a great right back, makeshift right back rather. So I think he did pretty well down the right hand side again. So he won't get credit for it, but I think he did pretty well for coming back on the starting 11. So Ben White for me is my man of the match.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I watched the
agree.
match and I didn't feel like I was calling out Ben White's name much. Not that I was calling out Zinchenko's either, except for when he made a mistake, but it didn't stand out. And maybe I think it's a good thing.
Ben White.
Huh?
Alonso's right. It was Ben White, definitely.
Oh. You said you didn't watch it.
Yeah, but I've seen the minute by minute account on the Arsenal fan circle, and it was obviously Ben White.
The minute by minute account.
I listened to it in the bath, as you all know.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna head out of here. I'm gonna have everybody say their
question of the week. Damn it!
We're not done yet. Let's get hold your horses.
I'm excitable. I'm excited.
Hold your
I'm back,
horses.
baby.
We're gonna head out of here. We're gonna have everybody have their say, but before we do that, we're gonna have Mr. Tom.
Where's Liberace's notebook at, Tom?
Yeah. I've got it here.
There's Liberace's notebook.
Liberace or Librace, as I call him.
Amen.
Oh, yeah,
What you got in your book this week, Mr. Baxter?
Thank you, sir. The question of the week is: before Sir Alex Ferguson took over Manchester United, who were factually the most successful club in England?
Well, it's too obvious to say Liverpool, isn't it? That's too obvious.
It is too obvious to say Liverpool, because I'll give you a clue. It's not Liverpool.
Nottingham Forest.
Close, but not the case.
Hmm.
But a good guess.
I thought they're 2 European Cups.
This is Sheffield United.
Nope.
Okay, when you say, okay, does that include Scotland as well?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's in England, sorry.
Okay. And what time span are we talking about?
We'll say up to 1986.
Ask the question again, please, if that's all right.
Pre-Ferguson.
They've already got it right. It's Aston Villa.
Oh, okay.
Basically, the criteria was decided by Manchester United and Villa both had 7 league titles and a European Cup. However, at the time, Villa had one more FA Cup to Manchester United, therefore making them, at the time, the most successful club in England.
Wow.
When did Villa win a European Cup and against who? You have anything on that?
They won it in, I might not have the exact year, but I think it was 1982. I believe it was following on from a Forest's double back-to-back win.
So England teams won the European Cup 3 years in a row, 2 with Forest and then followed up with Villa.
It's possible it was even more than that, because Liverpool may have won it before and after. You know that the thing. Mind.
Okay.
Yeah. No, go on, Gary.
That's an 81 here. You know that right there is why when we talk about the way the league is changing, where the money's coming in, how that's going to affect the game. You just right there. When people talk, like when Manchester United talks about football, they don't talk about that time, right? When they weren't the best, the team with the most wins and trophies and all of that in certain situations. So it's you're not, all these names of squads that we're looking at now that are at the bottom trying to not fight relegation are the same teams who were winning things back in the days, and those chances are drying up. every day.
Was that who was the manager then in that era of their success? Was there one manager that was kind of involved in it all in that sort of time?
I actually can't
Was it
remember who
was
their
it
manager
was that the Ron Atkinson era?
No, Atkinson was Villa manager after he was Man United manager.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's Ferguson came in after Ron Atkinson, right?
I believe you're right there. Yeah.
So who was
Well,
their
but-
manager in Villa? That's the Martin O'Neill era was later than that, wasn't it?
I've got a
That was
name in my head
90s.
of Ron Greenwood, but I don't know if it's right.
So Ron Greenwood, the ex-England
England
manager.
Actually, tell a lie. England actually won the European Cup 6 years in a row. Liverpool won it twice in 77 to 78. They won both. Then Nottingham Forest won both. Then Liverpool won it again, and then Aston Villa beat Bayern Munich, in the final 1-0 in 1982.
Wow.
But wasn't Ferguson the coach of Dundee, right? Dundee?
No,
Or
Ferguson was
Rangers, right?
no, Ferguson was Aberdeen.
Oh,
Aberdeen
right, okay.
before Man U, yeah. Oh, okay. Ron Greenwood was that? So Ron Greenwood, that would have been after his England manager. He was at Villa.
Villa's manager when they won the European Cup was Tony Barton, but their long-time manager
Who?
before them was Ron Saunders. Yeah, was Ron Saunders.
Okay, interesting.
He
All right,
left
Mr.
Villa
Tom, let's
for Birmingham.
Mr. Tom, let's get out of here. Say good night to your people.
Yeah. Good night, my people. No, seriously. Thank you for turning up this week.
You sound like Moses.
Yeah.
Good night, my people.
These are not the people you are looking for. Yeah. No. Again, as like from an English perspective in this show, obviously it's 2:17 a.m. here. So thank you to people that are also in England and are also awake and are participating. But obviously everyone as a whole, whether you are in America or Timbuktu or even like in the dungeon, thank you to supporting the show through your participation and making it, the show that it is. Because obviously, without blowing smoke up everyone else's, we could do the show if you weren't here, but it wouldn't be half as much fun. And a lot of the fun is in the things you say and us reacting to the things you say when you say it. So thank you for that. I hope you all have a good week. Your health is as good as possible. Yeah.
Cool.
Go fuck yourself,
All right.
Southampton. I hope all your teams lose, apart from Gary's.
There you go. Thank you. And Lonzo, say good night to the people.
Good night, people. Good night to the anyway, so make sure you join probably all of us on Arsenal Fan Circle on Thursdays. Before that, join Tony and Tom, maybe some guest hosts also from the show and the Fan Circle on the Food Nelson podcast on Wednesday nights. Also check out standstay.com/the Gooner Shop for your Gooner and wrestling supplies. And have a great week, everyone.
Cool. All right, and Stan.
Good night, pal. See you next week.
Yes.
He makes an appearance. He made an
He
appearance.
brought Vince back. He brought Mr. McMahon back.
All right, and
I love that
Tony.
shit.
Tony, say good night, Tony.
I'm done ducking the duck. The duck keeps covering me up like the duck's covering up Stan right now. But
Right.
anyway, I'm happy to be here. Glad to be home. Hopefully I don't have to go back to the hospital because I still got a pocket of pus in my leg. So see what happens tomorrow when I go back to a surgeon. But
Nothing gets me hungrier.
Yeah.
Tom just reminded me with that sound. I upgrade my chip score to 7.76
Nice.
because the heat sticks around and it's a good flavor.
Cool. All right, say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
There you go.
Good night.
And as you say, well, thank you again for joining us. There's been a lot of fun. We'll have everybody back next week. We will have played by then. Who are we playing? We're playing
Who's next one?
Leicester City,
Leicester,
and
yeah.
hopefully, yeah. So Leicester City, they are it seems a Jekyll and Hyde team. So hopefully we get the bad one and we finish them
Jekyll.
off. So they look like they can score, and the next thing they look like they cannot. So we have to have I like our form needs to improve a lot. So we need to get back to close to where we were before this little blip here. Hopefully it's just a blip. And we get all 3 points and we are happy about it. We move on. We put pressure on City again, see what they do. So we'll do this again. Thank you very much. As I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. And we'll see you guys on the next one. And we're out. All right, everyone. Thank you very much.